Well, as a business owner on the road, I need to make sure my RV is running and the AC is working. These are my favorite hacks to make sure I can have solid AC while running my business. You know what I mean? Like it's tying it in. It's always thinking about how do I tie it in.
Are you an RV person? Or are you just RV life curious, wondering how people live in a tiny space with their family 24/7? Either way, this is a podcast for you. My name is Kate White, and I travel full-time with my family and 2 kids and the dog in an RV. Every week, I sit down either with a fellow RV woman to discuss why she chose RV life and how she has changed on the road, or with a special guest who speaks on a topic relevant to travel life. Pull a chair up to the fire and let's chat. Hello, Nina, and welcome to the RV Queens podcast. Where are you calling in from today?
I am in Weston, Florida, and I think it's the first time I've ever admitted Weston because I usually say Miami or Fort Lauderdale, bigger cities, but I'm in a suburb right outside of in South Florida.
Okay,
and
nice.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. And like I was telling you earlier, I love what you're doing, Kate. So this is awesome.
Thank you, Nina. That really means a lot. I'm so happy to have you today, and I have so many questions I cannot wait to ask you. But I have to address something off the top. You are not a full-time RVer like many women in the community, but you did tell me that you recently had your first RV experience, which is amazing. Tell me about it.
I've been influenced. So I always joke, right? We all influence each other through the content we see on a day-to-day. And meeting more and more women in the RV niche, particularly, I work with a lot of creators, as you know. I've been getting more RV content. And, you know, I have 2 kids, right? People may don't know that. Like, I'm a mom. I have a husband of 17 plus years. Like, I love being outside. And I was like, you know what? I want to do this. Like, I want to try this. I have some very close friends who are RVers, you know, Sandy and Jimmy, who you know. From trying something new. I have a few other creators that come to mind that I've built relationships with. And I was like, I'm going to do it. We're going to try. So this year for spring break, we did, you know, do our first RV experience. And when I say it was like 10 out of 10, amazing. Like my kids came home, they were like, can we move in one? Like we just had such an amazing time. And that's why I'm so excited to be here, particularly because like all of y'all in the chat or all of you listening that are part of this RV community, like y'all are on to something. Like you're on to something. And I'm like, I'm trying to get some of that. Like I'm happy to answer your content creator influencer monetization questions. But I may come to you with RV questions because I'm so pumped about this space and this world. It's amazing.
Oh, I love it so much. Okay, you've got a taste of the freedom, and now you understand why we're all doing this, right? My gosh, it is
100%
an incredible lifestyle. Okay, well, and there's a lot of women in the RV Queens community that have taken your masterclass, have taken your courses, and are very familiar with you. So you're among friends, right? You get what we're doing. We get what you're doing. Okay.
Yes. Yes. I love that.
Okay. So
that's great.
Before, though, we get into the influencer topic, I have to ask you a few things about yourself. Your background is freaking glamorous as hell. You have been running your own businesses for over a decade, first of all. High five on that. And before Sidewalker Daily, you worked in the fashion industry in New York City. Of course you did. Okay. Tell me what was going on with you and your corner of the world in early 2010s.
Oh my God. I'm so happy social media didn't exist. There'd be too much evidence of the craziness. Actually, our college was one of the first colleges to have Facebook. So there is some remnants of things happening. But, early 2010 for Nina, I think I've always been an entrepreneur from before that. Like that seed in me of wanting to build community, build products, execute on ideas. I've always had big dreams, big vision. And 2010 is probably a very similar time where I am now, just older. I was in grad school working in the fashion industry, but I was getting my MBA at the time at Fordham University. I remember I was the crazy girl in class with a red lip and a high bun, very Devil Wears Prada. Definitely not where I am now in life, but I was into styling. I was into the industry. And I think when I reflect on that, I was just, styling and being in that space is really closely tied to personal image and personal branding, right? So when, I don't know, Pamela Anderson hires a stylist for a big event, what she's really saying is, hey, I need you to have me look a certain way to, as part of my personal brand. So I think it was all part of this personal branding exercise, which I've kind of carried into my career now, even though the fashion page and world feels like it feels like so long ago. But 2010 was kind of where I think I got my taste of starting my own business. I launched my own business, which was a failure and a total flop, and the biggest learning experience of it all, and where I learned all the mistakes. I'm like, I shouldn't have gone to grad school. I should have paid to start a business because that's where you learn, right? And yeah, that's kind of where I was then.
What was it that made you and your co-founder dream up Sidewalker Daily and decide to deep dive into the influencer space?
Yeah, so we were to really talk about truly the beginning of Sidewalker Daily. We started off in just general social media management. So when we were thinking about like, okay, what can we do? She graduated law school. She was working at a law firm. I had consulting clients, had my first child in 2013. And I thought to myself, like, I want to be a part of people's stories. I love storytelling and brand building. So social media was just picking up, and we started our own social media agency. And I always tell creators, like when we first started, we had really unsexy clients. What do I mean by that? Like we all want to work with the big companies, right? The big sexy clients. But in the beginning, I was working with like really, like I would never name them out loud, but just really not who you would want on your resume. But I was like, I need the work. I want to do social management. I want to do content creation services for them. Social's picking up. It was that led to me building Sidewalker. It actually started off as like a travel reshare account where this was back in the day when you could reshare people's content. This is not like people don't do that now. But back in the day, remember there used to be these big reshare accounts and you would like reshare people's content. And we told ourselves, oh my God, we love being in travel. Sidewalker actually started in the travel niche. We want to reshare travel stories, travel content on social. That's how we started building community. And it's funny, remember I told you I had a big failure with my first business. It was because I built this beautiful shop and I had no one to come to it. Whereas I told myself, when I do Sidewalker, I'm going to do it flip. I'm going to build community and build based on the needs of what they want, right? So I flipped the method of business. So we built this big community, right? We started growing. That got us a job, our consulting gig at a big PR firm in South Florida. They saw that our account was picking up. They saw we understood. This is, again, 2014, 2015. Social TikTok's not around. And that's kind of what really led us to start getting our brand clients, right? That's when we started working with hotels and tourism boards. And influencer stuff, again, was not on the scene yet. People thought it was going to go away. This isn't sticking around. This is just pretty people taking pretty pics, right? That was the energy. It wasn't like a real business. And that's kind of what led us to where we were today, by having really great opportunities by, in the PR world on the brand side, led us to really understand the needs of the creator. So being and negotiating on the brand side and seeing creators, oh my God, price themselves so low. I had a moment, a single mom. I remember being like, she has to charge more, let her charge more. And she sent me her rates and it was like, oh God, this is bad. But what am I going to do? I'm on the client side. And that's when we had our aha of like, no, we want to, we want to help.
Oh man. And you get in there with Photoshop and you're like, add a zero.
Like, come on,
page.
Come on,
Oh my goodness. I love it. Okay. I mean, I cannot imagine in 2014, I had my first kid. So whatever you say that date, I'm like, yeah, I didn't know anything about content or social media like back then. The content creation space has changed a lot in the past 8 years, right? What mindsets and skill sets have you observed about influencers who have been successful, like over the long haul?
So I think the girls that started with me in 2014, who when I worked with had 5,000 followers and now have 2 million, those are the girls I'm rolling with. They were adaptable. things happened, they jumped on it. There was no resistance to change. The ones who resisted change were always late. So what I mean by that is, a new platform hops on, they hopped on it. They moved with the trends of the page. When things started to get really perfect on Instagram, remember those perfect days where it had to be really looking a certain way? And then things started kind of getting out of that. They rolled with that. Like they didn't stay in the perfect day. That stuff is stale now. Like all those accounts that are like gorgeous, perfect, like no one wants that. So the people that were successful are still successful. They're ones that were adaptable to change, flexible, willing to try new things, fail publicly, and not take themselves too seriously in the sense that like, it's weird to try a new platform or try something, but it's going to be worse if you don't. So those are kind of some of the big patterns I've seen.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so for people that today are just starting out in content creation, for example, women who have decided to start traveling full time, such as in the RV niche, right? And they think it could be fun to get paid to create content. What's your number one advice today for those people?
The people that are just getting started. Here's the thing. And I want to answer your question, but I want to preface something specifically RV. Okay. So people feel because they're in an RV, they have to talk about RV content. Like you're like, well, I have to talk about that. So there's a story. There's an RV creator who I know has been a part of my program that did RV content for a really long time. And she told me, you know what? I'm stuck. It's not hitting. It doesn't feel natural. But when her and her husband transitioned to like couples comedy and like really letting people in, their account exploded. And to me, that was such an eye opener that like you can travel in your RV and you can do RV content and you should share the stories. I was influenced. Hell, I'm about to probably buy an RV because of someone like y'all. But I'm saying you don't have to just have RV in that space. You can have a section in that space. Maybe you're really good at personal finance and that's how you've been able to afford this lifestyle. Maybe you have family humor. Maybe you're great at homeschooling. Maybe there's something, again, just to kind of remove the pressure of having to produce RV content just because you have an RV lifestyle. I just wanted to start with that. In terms of like being a content creator, like starting out new, when you're first starting, if you're trying to really pitch content to brands, the first thing that any brand wants to see is examples of your work. So if you're going to focus on anything, yes, there's growth. Yes, there's, all the tactics to grow and the hook and the this and the that. But what I really think about is, okay, let me flip it on you, Kate. If you were going to hire, a makeup artist, right? Let's just say you're going to hire a makeup artist. Are you going to hire a friend's cousin, sister who sometimes does it on the side and has some pics on her iPhone she can show you? Or are you going to hire someone that sends you like a website that has links of the before and after that maybe shows the work that they're able to do? So like, again, when you want to be paid as a profession, you have to also give that energy that this is a business for you. Like as a brand, I don't want to pay a hobbyist, even if you are a hobbyist. I want to pay someone who I feel is going to deliver the results that I need, right? Or the content that I'm looking for. So the most important thing is your portfolio. How can you monetize without a portfolio? How can you go to a brand and say, I want to shoot content for you if you have no examples of said content? Literally, you will not get a, hey, sure. So that's the first place. Focus on building a portfolio and let me remind everyone listening, social media is not your portfolio, right? Scrolling on TikTok is not your portfolio. Scrolling on Instagram is not your portfolio. Yes, those are examples of your work. How many of us have pieces of content we've never published? It's just sitting there, right? The IG feed only gets so much. Show me your food content. Show me your product content. Show me your feed. Really create a space where you can show off your work. That's how you're going to get those paid brand deals.
What is your stance on niching down? Is it a yay or a nay?
It's so interesting. So because I have a lawyer as a business partner, I'm a very gray type of gal, no black or white here. But I will say, as a personal opinion, just Nina, friend to friend, I do believe that niching down in the beginning is where you want to be because people don't want to follow random people to see your diary. Like they want something from you. So it's either entertainment, it's either value, it's either education, a voyeuristic, like seeing how you process something. So I will say if I had to pick, if I had to be pinned against the wall, I'm going to say yay. But here's the beauty about having a niche, right? Here's the beauty about community. So right now, people know me as this influencer marketing girl, this creator economy gal. But then once they come into my program, maybe they join Inner Circle, maybe they're like, come to a meetup. They're like, wait, we like her. Oh, wait, she's a mom. Oh, wait, she's going to do a book. Like, oh, wait, she's going to do this. Like, you can grow your audience and they will grow with you. And some people will not want to be with me because they're like, she's annoying or, we don't want that from her. But as you grow, you can, your audience will grow with you. They'll want to maneuver with you. But in the very beginning, when you are clear about your mission, again, think about yourself as a company. You're Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola has a brand mission. They have guiding values. They have things, this is part of like really treating yourself as a business. So yes, if you're very clear on your offer, on the impact you're trying to make, on the content you want to produce, and you're clear, you're going to grow people that are also want to be a part of that said stance. And as time rolls around, you can open up a little bit more and open up a little bit more. But I'm team niche. I am. What can I say?
I love it. At least you have a side and you didn't just go gray on us. All right. With Sidewalker Daily, one thing that you help people do is, and I quote, create a solid framework for their creator business. What does that mean and why is it important?
Oh, I love this question. It's a good one. So interestingly enough, when we built this company, having that, again, I did go get my MBA, went to go get my master's in business. One of the things I found as a lack in our community was a lack. I almost was like, I would love to make an MBA program for creatives where they can for entrepreneurs. You are a creator, but guess what? You're also an entrepreneur, right? You're building your own business, you're building your own brand, all the things. So when we talk about framework, right? Again, I try to really get creators to think bigger about themselves. And I really try to get creators to get it comfortable in their professional skin. So what do I mean by that? Like really, truly building out that framework to build a long-lasting business. All strong businesses are built on a strong foundation, right? So are you looking to is it a get rich quick? Are you trying to really build a brand that's going to be around in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? What is the legacy that you want to meet? Now, I have creators who come in the door and they don't know. I don't know. I'm just figuring it out. That's totally fine. And I have people that come through my door and they say, oh, I want to have a collaboration with Camping World. I want to release my own backpack line for kids. They're dreaming super big. So whenever we think big, I always say, okay, well, we got to build a framework to get you there because, Rome wasn't built overnight. And one of the biggest things about, or at least what I believe as business has taught me is that anyone that tells you this will happen overnight is fake news express. There's this fool's gold, right? We're raised in the Amazon Prime, Uber Eats, you get something at the drop of the hat. And I'm so sorry to tell you that business is not like that. And you need that framework, right? Which is not just your monetization strategy. It's the entire house, right? Every room of your business. And as you guys are in here and you start growing your businesses, you're going to be like, damn, I have to do taxes. Wait a second. I got to not only do taxes, I got to do content. I got to do pitching. I got to do, hire people. I'm HR. Again, framework, because how are you really going to scale without it?
Oh man, I have questions about scaling in just a minute. But before we get there, let's talk real quick about pitching to brands. What are some of the common mistakes that you see content creators making when pitching?
So many. Good Lord. How much time do you have? Okay. Really, truly, when it comes to the pitch, I think the biggest revenue generating asset you can have as a creator is your media kit or your portfolio. Like I said, it's a sales tool. It's something that makes you money. So when I see a creator again pitch without their sales tools, without a solid, strong, visually appealing media kit and or portfolio, it's not going to get you through the other side. when you are sending pitches to info emails, hello emails, and you're not finding that direct decision maker, probably not getting a response. If your pitch is about you and not about them, you're thinking about what you want, what you need, but not how you can serve, how you can support, how you can add value, you're probably not going to get a response, right? So there's different little elements whenever I have creators in my program and maybe they're doing a challenge with me. The first thing I say is, okay, how many pitches did you even send? You can't send 2 and expect anything. This is a numbers game at the same time. We need data. We need to go in and analyze. You sent 40 pitches. Okay, how many wrote back? And out of those that wrote back, what did they say? Yes, no, maybe. Did you get on a call? Like what's broken, right? So those are, I think, the most common mistakes we're seeing from a logistical side. And then the biggest mistake at all is not even pitching, probably. And expecting just inbounds to carry your business. It's not enough to just have inbound leads. You need to go after the business.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear you say all this and knowing that your background, you have such a strong business background, because when I feel new to the content creation space. I've only been kind of in this for about a year here. And back in the day, I had there was a couple years where I worked in sales, and it was B2B sales, and it was very hard. And I had to learn a specific skill set, just like you're describing here. It's like you have to get to the decision maker. The point of the first interaction is to get to the next conversation and keep going, keep trying until you get a yes. All these sales techniques, right? And now my husband actually is in a sales position of sorts, and he listens to the sales stuff, and we're just kind of in that headspace. And so whenever I hear RV Queens members talking about pitching to brands, I'm always like, man, who can teach them best practices as a sales professional, as a content creator? I never really know how to bring up this conversation, but it sounds like it's exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, and here's the thing. This is a secret, okay? This is the secret. No one wants to be told they're a salesperson. Creators hate it when I tell them that they're in sales, they're world shatters. They're like, no, I'm a creative. I can't. And I'm like, no, girlfriend, you're trying to get clients, right? You're trying to get clients who pay you a monthly retainer, not a one-off. Who's here for $200 a post? Not me. We're here for client services, retainer business. Not, hey, I'll shoot 1 video for you. Hey, I'll shoot 10 for you over a 12-week span. That's guaranteed money. So, creators hate it. I love, Kate, how you just said, we're teaching them sales strategies. We're teaching them, cold. They literally. And what's funny is that when you tell someone the biggest belief, I think, in sales, and I've never taken a sales class or anything like that, but people tell me, Nina, you're so good at selling. You're so good at selling this, that, the other. When you believe what you do and you look at it either as a sacred act or an act of value, you are helping people, I'm not doing you a favor. You really believe that, not fake believe it. You believe it. Selling is easy. So when you go to a brand and you're like today I had a call with a big group. I told them, you're not doing them a favor. You're actually helping them. You're helping them make money. If you create a video that does well, they're going to make sales. You know what I mean? You're not in a position of begging. It's really believing, wait a second, I do have value. I do bring something to the table. I did a joke. I was I think we all need to go to therapy and really work on our self-worth here. Why do we not feel, as women particularly, confident in our selling? Because maybe we feel, I don't know, we're not good enough for this or that. But the worst case they say is no. And we move on to the next lead.
Right. Until you find someone that sees your value. Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. And they will.
Right. And you have, tell me if I'm wrong, a unique perspective coming from the fashion scene, because I'm sure you have seen the inside of marketing and ad campaigns, right? Were you ever part of the team that was you got the stylist and the makeup person and the photographer and the video, you got a whole team to put together one ad. And
yes.
and then like pan over to content creator. Right. It's like wearing 25 hats.
Yeah.
Yes, you do have value.
I'm like, oh my God, amazing. And that's why I think we do pay. Like we really advocate for that because you are doing so many roles in one. That there is pricing that you can like upcharge for that, right? You can charge more for multiple skill sets, right? I have a creator that does underwater. I'm like, that's hard. Charge more. I have a creator that does drone. That's hard. Charge more. Like, what are things in your Rolodex that you can charge more for based on a skill set,
Since we're talking about successful content creators, you've worked, with how many, do you keep track of how many creators you've worked with? Give me a ballpark.
No. I would say, our community, I don't know. I can't even give you a number because I have one-on-one clients. I have course students. I have people who just take our free content and have messaged me saying, I've never bought a course, but I just want to know you changed my life. Like, here's a testimonial, but I've never even bought your course just from the free stuff.
Amazing.
So I think we've touched a lot of lives. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you've seen it all. Let's talk to the creator who they've been in the game for a while. They've started pitching and getting some brand deals. They're still in the hustle phase of doing everything themselves, just like we talked about, right? Someone wearing all the hats. Will you paint a picture so that they can have a light at the end of the tunnel about what does the life of a creator look like who has a team in place behind the scenes, like supporting them?
You know that meme, like Instagram versus reality, right? Like, I think when we tell anyone, hey, I have a team in place, like Instagram is like, oh my God, you're so lucky. It's amazing. Reality is like hard to manage people, humans, the expectations, letting go of control. So I just like always start by saying like not glamorizing scaling because there is a bunch of hardness that comes with that and lessons. I found out very quickly that I'm a really horrible manager. Horrible, not good. Rather do it myself, so controlling as hell. Love to just do, it's hard to let go of certain things. So I don't want to glamorize it, but I do want to say that when you scale your business and do have a team in place, the way I like to think about it is hire people that are revenue generating roles. So what I mean by that, it's actually advice my dad gave me ages ago. The advice is, if you're going to hire someone, can you measure the money they bring back to the company? Not you, the company. Treat it as a company. The company pays Kate. The company pays Nina. Just because I sell this for my course does not mean Nina makes this from her course, correct? So when you start to treat it as a company, you can see those revenue generating roles. So what is something that you could put money into that you would be able to measure that result? So for example, if you were to hire someone to help you pitch, right? They're going to do the research. They're going to look up the emails. You're going to teach them. You can probably within 3 months see if the $2,000 you pay a month for someone, I don't know, you pay them $30 an hour, whatever you want to pay, 20, whatever the rates are in your state, for someone to do some work for you. Does that $2,000 a month investment bring you $6,000? If it does, that's a great investment. If it brings you $2,000, that's not good. You're just breaking even. And if it's not bringing you any, we may have to let this person go. It's not a good area to fuel. So when you start just thinking about scaling, think about, okay, what type of help do I need? Now, someone may say, Nina, I love pitching. I'm good at it. No one can speak to my business as much as I can. I know the ins and outs, but my captions and my editing, it drags me down. Content is a nightmare. Okay, hire someone on that because then you will be able to revenue generate. But whoever we're hiring either needs to free up your time to bring the company money or needs to bring the company money. Does that make sense? So especially from a scaling start, when you're starting with that first hire, people are like, oh, you need someone to write my newsletter. I'm like, sis, is your newsletter making you money? Like, is that the right person right now to bring on? Let's be real here. Who is this human? And are they freeing up your time so that you can go after the big fish? That's what my team does. My team frees up my time so I can go after big partnerships, because I know I can do it better than they could.
And again, I think you're speaking to the creator about sales and marketing tactics, because this is what we have to keep in mind as creators is, I'm going to use the word funnel, even though let's just go with it for a second. Imagine the funnel, right? You pitch to what did you say? Pitch to 40 brands and you have 3 move down to like a conversation. And then one of those turns into, let's say, a $10,000 contract. Okay. Are these the only ways people are getting through the funnel? Then we need to increase the number of pitches so that we get more in the middle phase. And that, you know what I mean? It's exactly what you're talking about. I get it. And or if you have like a consumer facing line of revenue, so let's say you have your B2B brand over here, pitches going on, etc. Then you have a consumer facing line of revenue. How are consumers finding you and your whatever they're paying you for? Let's say you have an ebook. Okay, content being created is how they're finding you. Like you said, pay the editor to help you get the content created and out there. It's, again, like picture it like a funnel. That helps me a lot.
Same. And one thing I want to just state is because I've helped creators with monetization, from launching their own courses to ebooks to all the things, membership. We did that recently. People always ask me, where do you see the biggest bang for your buck? Like, where is the biggest bang? People ask because like they're spending their time. They want to know. In my experience, because of what I do, obviously I've seen for time for money, the biggest reward has been in brand partnerships for time for money, right? Like so when you think about, okay, $10,000 in book sales or course sales or whatever, how many people would have to buy that ebook or whatever to get to that number? What is the content reach that you have? What would the conversions look like versus, pitching 30 brands a month, having 10 of them respond, getting 3 on a call or 5 on a call and getting 3 to be $4,000 or $5,000 each. Like, to me, it's like for return of your time. I talked to a friend about it the other day. She was like, in what world could you get paid, $10,000 to do one post? Like, where am I going to make that? Like, where, in terms of like the time it took me, it's just really interesting, especially as you grow and do grow your community and are charging more because you are community focused and you have humans. There's something really special there. I'm
not going to ask you your secret sauce, but is this a topic you talk about in your courses and your online memberships?
Yeah, I think it depends. To be frank, I don't believe success can be replicated. I learned that very quickly. I don't think that someone can tell you these are the 10 steps, follow them, and you're going to be successful. I think everyone's path is different. And I think when you start thinking for yourself and start listening, you have to critically think. I always tell creators in my program, critically think, right? Don't just copy and paste a template. Like, think about this critically. So with my one-on-one clients, yes, we can have personalization where we really build that framework out. In our courses and program, it's more step by step, and then you have to tweak to make work for you. That is obviously what our entire pitching course is. It is a sales course for creators, how to be better in sales. But there's nothing like that, the one-on-one clientele that I work with, where I work with them for 3 months. And I meet with them weekly. It's just a very different experience. But I think that is what we really focus on, is teaching creators. I don't want to even say sales. It's more mindset, confidence. Like, people come through my program and they just like, I feel more confident. So I'm like, maybe I'm just helping them see their inner worth and helping them with the strategies to like execute on it versus like sales. Because as you know, Kate, you said your husband's in it, like, sales has a negative connotation. It's kind of like the word influencer. It has like, ick. I'm a creator. I'm not an influencer. No one wants to say like, I love sales. Selling is awesome, right? The word is icky because of the nature of other people tainting that word. But like I said earlier, when you really believe what you do is valuable and impactful, you have no problem selling and being comfortable with that term.
All right. Well, that actually is a great segue into kind of my last couple of questions for you here. What are the different ways that creators can work with you? I know you offer a lot. Give us kind of a rundown of what the options are.
The various options are, we go from as little to, hey, I need 30 minutes of your brain, right? Can I get a 30-minute little session, right? Like a little 30-minute consultation, to 3-month coaching packages, right? Where we dive into your business. We have an entire design studio where we design those professional proposals, media kits, portfolios. To me, that's a really solid investment because your media kit will make its money back. It is a higher price premium. It's a premium product that we do, but again, it's a sales tool. The goal is if you use it enough, it's going to pay itself off. Like you will get that paid. It will pay itself off. And then creators can work with us. Obviously, our program, our coaching, we have a course, our Pitching Your Brands Master course, which I think a lot of you said your students, your community members may be a part of. Once you enter the Pitching Your Brands Master course, you are invited to our membership community. So I also have a membership community, but you can't get in without the program because we just don't want random people on the internet. Like you have to have gone through a methodology. You have to have gone through the steps to kind of be able to enter our membership. And those are really the big ways.
I love it. Okay, tell listeners, where can they connect with you online and sign up to work with you?
Yeah. So on our website, if you just visit www.sidewalkerdaily.com, if you go under courses, you'll be able to see our Pitching Your Brands Master course. We host free trainings all the time. So if you're not ready to commit, but you want to come to a training, see my teaching style, see how I present material, you can come to those free trainings. Kate, I'll make sure you have a link that you can share for the trainings. We also have a crazy ton of videos on YouTube. So you guys can watch over there. Just look up Sidewalker Daily on all places social and you'll see the content that we provide to the world.
All right. I love it. And yeah, of course, we'll link all of those in the show notes. Yes. Thank you so much for being on the show today, Nina.
Yes.
I love the energy you bring to the table. I love your unique perspective. It was so fun. All right.
Wait, I'm like, should we take a picture? Hold on. Wait,
yes.
Don't go. I want us to take a little pic. Can we? I don't even know how to do that like online, but I want to post this. This was amazing.
I mean, just like taking a picture of your screen.
Yeah, we'll do it. 1, 2, 3. Thank you, Kate.
Thank you, Nina. All right, friends, let's start up the Q&A portion. We've got 20 juicy minutes with Nina. I'm going to start scrolling through the chat. And if someone sees like a raise your hand thing on your screen, you can try to do that. Again, I'm not sure if they still have that. Otherwise, just keep the questions rolling in the chat. Okay, the first one I see come up is from Kelly. At what point is your niche too small?
As long as there's people that like want this and there's proof of concept, there's always going to be people like looking for it. So I'll give you an example. If you go to Facebook and you search on Facebook, like people and like orchid lovers, like Facebook is the best place to see really niche topics. Like there's a group for like ADHD moms, ADHD Christian moms, ADHD Christian moms in Florida. I mean, like it is so like really, really like, I think you could get really narrow and Facebook shows us that. Yeah, very specific. I think as long as you can have a steady content stream where you can produce daily, right? That there are brands that would want to be part of this message, I don't see a world where it would hurt you. Unless I guess it was so small that there's no demand for it, But you could also build demand. Like, I just want to briefly mention, Kelly, we have articles on our blog about Media Kit before there was ever a blog on the internet about Media Kit. Like, we talked about Media Kits before anyone. We were the first. There was zero search around this topic. So, because I use a keyword search tool, so I can see what the search is. 0 topics on Media Kits when we first started. What was it talked about? We started it. We paved it. Now everyone talks about it. So the point is, it's like, was that too niche? I was like, no. Like, again, so I'm not saying we invented it, but there was barely any blog content around it. So even if the keyword search is low, but you're kind of a visionary and you think this is something that's going to pop off, you can still build around it. And hopefully it will pop off.
I have a B2B business and travel full-time in an RV. Do you recommend a 50-50 or 75-25 or something like that split in my content between my business and my RV lifestyle?
I think you can integrate multiple niches that don't feel similar as long as they're coming from a filter. So let me give you an example. Okay, I'm in the influencer marketing creator economy niche. Let's just say I wanted to talk about a blender, right? I wanted to partner with a blender or talk about blender. I would probably come at it through the microphone of, as a busy working mom who owns her own company, I need fast meals that are nutritious and easy, right? So I'm going to do it like that. Kate maybe wants to talk about the same blender. Kate's going to come at it from a different angle. As an RV mom who has this maybe like a life of homeschool, I want my kids to be, we go on hikes every afternoon and I want to bring with us something that will keep the kids full, right? She can talk about like healthy nutrition and RV, right? Because it's coming through the filter of her niche, right? So in Penny's case, as long as the content is integrated, so I wouldn't want to see B2B, RV, B2B, RV. How do we weave it? So that when we talk about B2B, we're like, hey guys, good morning. I woke up here in my beautiful RV. I'm getting to work. I just got an email. Boom. It integrates. Or if she wants, finding that integration so it doesn't feel so isolated. I hope that answers the question versus like creating like, okay, I'm posting 5 days a week. 3 are RV, 2 are business. Like then it feels not aligned versus if it's like talking about Penny's story, weaving it through, whether some are more business focused, some are more RV focused. Let's just say she wanted to do an RV post where it's like RV hacks. How could she tie that in? Well, as a business owner on the road, I need to make sure my RV is running and the AC is working. These are my favorite hacks to make sure I can have solid AC while running my business. You know what I mean? Like it's tying it in. It's always thinking about how do I tie it in?
All right. Question from Kaylee. A lot of brands lately have been pushing ambassador or affiliate programs and not wanting to pay for content. What are your thoughts?
We just want to get those brands and, tell them who's boss. No, Kaylee, this is actually a very common practice because it's a lot easier, right? To just be like, hey, here's a link, here's an affiliate, here's a this. Okay, so obviously I'm team get paid, right? I'm team, thank you so much for sending this over. Like, it looks great. I'd actually love to jump on a quick call because I have tons of ideas that I'd love to share with you guys. Like, almost not even addressing that, just being like, I have some ideas I'd love to address with you guys. Get them on the call, learn about their goals. What are they working on? Get them excited, show up with an idea. Then at the end, maybe we can just be like, oh, by the way, okay, I'll send you a proposal. Sounds great. You're like, wait, what? I thought you were going to do an affiliate. So sometimes there's that strategy of just like not even touching it and just going for it. Some creators say, okay, well, sometimes I will do an affiliate. I'll test it. Then I'll pitch, hey, by the way, this link got over 300 clicks in the last month. I'd love to get on a call and talk about ways we can talk further. So using the affiliate data to help you in your pitching, there's value in that. I had a creator show me her affiliate data. I was blown away. I'm like, oh my God, we need to pitch that brand. It's crazy. So it's not that it's a no. We're always going to want to try to pivot those conversations, but the only way you can pivot is by providing value. So what can you really bring to the table for said company that would make them excited about working with you?
Let's go back to the content creator that's just starting out. And the landscape today is way different than it was even a few years ago, right? And it's kind of overwhelming.
Totally.
Like, do you post on every platform? Do you pick one? All the different gurus all over the place are telling you different things. What platforms do you recommend? Is it a multiple platform situation or is it focusing on one? Tell me where you're at.
Everything comes down to capacity. What are you capable of from a time perspective? I would be lying if I didn't start with YouTube because I think that, and I know that's probably not what everyone wants to hear. I think everyone wants to hear Instagram, and we're going to get to Instagram. But the reason I just feel passionate about YouTube is because long form content is so authoritative. It's so authority building. It's so search based. And I still have videos from 3 years ago that I monetized from. So Instagram is like quicker, right? Like you don't find content as fast. It's just a different human. With that said, I always tell creators to kind of pick two because of any case, if there's ever any, just as like a contingency. Obviously, Instagram is, I always call like the sexiest platform because there's something about Instagram. It's US based, right? TikTok feels sometimes a little scarier for some creators because they're like, well, what if it gets shut down? There's always stuff in the news about TikTok getting shut down. Is it a risky investment? You have creators say, no, it's not going to get shut down. You have others that say, yes, it is. And that's why I always tell creators, no matter what, your email list is so valuable. People don't want to hear that either. They don't want to build an email list. They want followers. But again, when you start to really think about building a business, not just a social page, but a business, that email list is valuable. So I would say, I wouldn't say just one. I would say one short form. If you had to pick a short form, then repurpose them. You could create Instagrams that you post on multiple if you have the capacity to do so. And also ultimately, like, what type of video are you looking to make? Like, I don't know, long form video is an art in itself. So I can't pick between YouTube and Instagram. I think from a brand deals perspective, there's money in both. I've seen it in both.
All right. Leah asks, what advice do you have for creators who think they can only get trade partnerships because they want to build their portfolio? When should they stop asking for trade and start asking for paid? Or do you think they should get paid for their services from the start?
Okay. So here's the thing. I think you should get paid from the start, but you can settle on trade, right? So we always start by asking to get paid for our time. Why? Because you're literally creating content for someone. It's not follower based. It's literally like your time. So yeah, I always start by saying, yes, let's start by getting paid. Now, here's the thing. People do trade partnerships. If you are in a category, so let's just say you worked with a fashion brand on trade, I would not continue to work with multiple fashion brands. Like once you get like a category, you're wanting to use that free example as a case study to pitch another fashion brand, right? So I would say as long as once you get one category, like trying not to do multiple in the same category, because that's the whole point of doing it for free is to get that content. Also, like not a fun thing to talk about, but like, and I have this is actually one of our cheap courses. It's like, I think it's under $50, but we have a whole course on taxes. And we talk about, arguably when it's for trade and there's an expected deliverable, if you're in the US, that's considered income. Arguably, like you're paying taxes on that. You should be anyways. Because if they gift it to you, it's different. If they're like, oh, here's a gift, you don't have to post about it. It's just a gift. That's different. But if they're like, here's a shirt, post 3 times, that is considered income. And arguably, you should be taxed on that. Do you claim it? That's on you. But those are the rules. So obviously, from a trade standpoint, I don't like to start there because it's not safe. Do people do it all the time? Yes. Do people do it for higher paid things? Yes. Okay, it's different getting a hotel for free. That's $400 a night. That's a $1,200 trade versus a water bottle. So like it's also understanding that partnerships are a value exchange. What's the value being swapped? So that's how I would look at it. In terms of when should they stop, or do you think you should get paid from the start? Yes, when I have more followers. So those creators are in a mindset trap about themselves. And again, that's why I said we all need to go to therapy. But they don't have the confidence to ask because they lack the mindset that they actually bring value to the table. Because they feel that their worth is tied to a yes or a no versus just the time to build. Now, I don't like to shame anyone when it comes to doing free stuff because, again, I see it happen all the time. And in some cases, like I had a creator she got her living room furnished. She's like, that would have been $10,000 I would have had to do. She did it for free. Like, let's be 100, okay? So trade can also be advantageous at times to the creator, but always start, hey, these are my fees to create the content. And one of the things we talk about heavily in our negotiations course is how do we justify these fees? Well, We don't just say, hey, it's $500 for a reel. It's, hey, it's $500 for editing, researching, a cover, one round of revisions, a 30-minute call with the client. Like, that's what's $500, not a reel. All the work that goes into producing said reel,
Have you ever seen someone like bullet point out everything that goes into a reel? On their rate sheet.
It's a lot.
Brilliant. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably also educating the brand too, especially if they haven't worked with many creators. Time for one more question from Kelly. Back to email lists. In the early days of starting a list, what are you sharing? I'm trying to wrap my head around how to use it to my benefit.
The most answered questions that people ask you, or you think that your content is tied to. I'll give you an example. I have a creator. She always talks about Italy this, Italy that. Her freebie is, hey, she'll create like a little PDF that's like, hey guys, you want my itinerary to Italy? Download it here for free in exchange for the email, right? So that's how she's getting people on her list, Kelly. And in terms of what are you even sharing on the newsletter? I think there's no set path. You can share weekly, you can share monthly. I personally use my email list in the beginning as a microphone for my big content. So I would say YouTube video, hey guys, like I'm talking about these 4 things this week. If you are interested in learning more, here's the video. So I used it as a microphone to amplify my YouTube content. So actually still to this day, my email list, which has grown considerably, still gets an email every week about the new free video that I have on my channel. People love that, right? Because they feel very tied to that. You can use it as a way to storytell, right? To storytell, like think of it like letter from the editor, right? You're the editor. This is what you're sharing. It's like micro blog posts. Sometimes I have creators that tell me that they use their newsletter where they put kind of like their captions together. Like if you're doing value-based captions on Instagram, right? Or you're scripting your YouTube videos to be very dense. Part of that can go in the newsletter, just pieces of it, not the whole thing. But it shouldn't add to your plate. It shouldn't add to your plate. But if you have another channel that you can use to use this, like new reel on this, new video on this, it's a great way to use the tool.
Oh man, reusing content. That's a whole category. I would love to keep going for another hour with you. Oh my gosh.
I know. Stuff. We have to do a part 2. We have to do part 2. It's 6
That'd
months.
Be so fun. Yeah, a deep dive. How to do everything we just talked about.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being on today, Nina. It was a total joy. I cannot believe how fast an hour went. And yes, please, let's keep in touch and talk about what else we can collaborate on here. It's good stuff.
100%. Like I was telling you before, I love what you're doing. I love that you're bringing people together. Like community is so important. Having people in your space. It's just you're doing an awesome job. And for everyone that's a part of this community, it's important to be in these spaces. Like I say as a business owner myself, I'm in these sort of conversations and spaces. If you want to do it, what is it? If you want to do it fast, I don't remember the quote, but basically we need people. We need each other. You can't do it alone, right? We can't do these things alone. We need each other, all of us. And that's where beautiful collaborations come from. So thanks for having me. This was awesome.
We are your RV Queens fangirls. We're here if you need us. All right.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. No, I'm your guys' fangirl. I'm the RV people fangirl. Remember, I'm the one.
That's right. Yeah, let us know if you need any help with your black tank hoses or whatever. All right. Bye, Nina.
I love it. Bye,
everyone.
Thank you.
All right, my friends. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode and for being my favorite part of RV life. If you could please like and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on, that would be awesome. And listen, if you want to have conversations like I had on this episode with your fellow RV women, head to rvqueenspodcast.com/community and choose your RV Queen Circle today. All right, guys, I'll see you next week, or hopefully I will see you on the road. Add a 0.